So I've just got to London. This is a Mars HMO, rent-to-rent HMO. I'm going to find out all about it. So let's go take a look. Go for it. Let's have a look around.
So yeah, this is the first room, ensuite double room.
Yep. Okay. Smurf blue, a bit like Caroline done in one of her properties.
Another ensuite downstairs, a bit of a smaller room, but
nice.
Still a nice size.
Did you have to do any work to this property?
Barely anything done to this property. We have got another room on this side, but that one's actually currently tenanted now. So we got 5 rooms upstairs. This is the only ensuite in the property upstairs. So yeah,
nice.
Good size room.
Yeah, it is really spacious for an 8-bed HMO.
Yeah. Then you have the 2 single rooms here. Another little Smurf glue room.
Yeah, little frozen. You can get, Elsa the frozen thing on the wall.
And then you got 2 doubles here. So
yeah,
the doubles come with a sink, but yeah, again, nice spacious room.
Yeah, this is a really nice room actually. Really spacious.
I think the layout of the room just makes it look enough like spacious.
Yeah.
And then you have the shared bathroom upstairs.
Okay, awesome. So let's go back downstairs, grab that coffee. We'll sit down, find out all about how you secured this deal. How did you come across Rent to Rent?
I came across Rent to Rent. It was actually a bit of a coincidence. I saw like an ad on like Instagram or Facebook or something, and it was actually for a course for someone doing it in America.
Okay.
So I thought it was interesting.
How did that algorithm work?
I'm not really too sure. But then obviously, I signed up to some like it was like a video call, like a Zoom call with the person running the course. I just thought it sounded like a good idea. I wanted to see if it was feasible in the UK because obviously they were in America doing it. And then I just started doing a bit of research really, and then obviously came across the obvious ones, the Samuel Leeds and like the bigger courses. Me and my business partner, we booked the crash course in London for £1. We went there. Obviously, as you do, you I feel like I learned more than I obviously knew before I went there because I was pretty much brand new to the whole idea. And yeah, so from there, obviously when you listen to Samuel Leeds, it always seems very easy and you can do it quite quickly and all of these type of things.
Yeah, just rent a 4-bed
and just
chuck a bedroom in it.
Yeah,
done.
Yeah. But yeah, so from there I kind of knew that I needed a mentor.
Yeah.
So yeah, did a bit more research, came across you. I liked the idea that you were very personable, very like one-to-one, came across again very genuine. Had a call with you, and I think for that call, even after the call, I would say I was a bit unsure. I don't know if you remember.
I could tell,
I don't know if you remember.
I'm just going to go away and do my due diligence.
Yeah, just going to go away and have a think about it.
Check my company's house records. And here we are, stood in your property, coffee in hand, so this is mandatory on a property tour, coffee.
Yeah, and then obviously once I had to think about it, and to be honest, I think it was just you, the way that you came across, very genuine. I knew you wanted to help us in this journey. So I was I was sold on you really more than anything else. And I knew from obviously the Samuel Leeds and all of these other companies that I looked at, it is a thing in the UK and it does work and people do make a lot of money from it. So yeah, I just wanted someone that would be able to kind of help me kickstart this journey really.
Did it just pop up and you were mega interested, or was there a story behind that?
So it did pop up. I was interested from the beginning, but at that point I was in a different job. I was like working a 9-to-5 job and it popped up and I kind of had it in the back of my mind, but it wasn't something that I was pursuing. I actually got let go from my job and I was fuming because the reason that they let me go was a ridiculous reason, to be fair. It was nothing to do with my work or like anything to do. It's just they just wanted to find a reason to get rid of me. And
I've never been made redundant, but I can imagine it's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it was and obviously because I thought that the work that I was doing for the company was very beneficial to them. I introduced a lot of new things to them, and I feel like I got to the point where I did what they wanted me to do, and then they were like, "Okay, we don't need you anymore."
See you later.
Yeah, so I was pretty angry at that point. So I went home. I had this rent to rent in my head, and then that was kind of when I started getting a bit more tunnel vision on rent to rent, and I was like, okay, I need to find a good mentor that will teach me the things that I don't know, help me kickstart this journey, and then kind of take it from there, really.
So you've got a business partner as well.
Yeah.
So was he on board straight from the start? How did you two connect?
So he's a business owner as it is. So for me, because obviously I only work 9 to 5, and he had kind of a set mentality of how to run a business, how to do certain things, which I probably wasn't aware of. And then obviously we were good friends as well. So I had a conversation with him. We were both in this point in our life where we think we could do more with our lives, not just working like 9 to 5s or obviously he's got a successful business as it is, but he wanted to then grow more. So I obviously spoke to him a lot about rent to rent to begin with, and he was like, you know what, like that sounds like something that we can both get behind. Property is pretty much the best investment that you can.
And you're in London.
Yeah, and you're in London, so the location is perfect for us.
The demand is high, the supply is high.
Yeah. So from there, we kind of just started bouncing off each other a little bit and realizing, like, if we did want to grow and develop ourselves as businessmen and like professionally, that this was a good venture that we could do together.
So you come on board with us. What was the start of the mentorship like? As soon as the day 1 to like week 3. So how did that process? How did that come across?
So for me, as soon as I joined the mentorship, I was ready to I was like, okay, the first call, I want to join. I want to see what it's all about, see what everyone's doing, how they can how their experience can help me. I feel like when I first joined, I felt like the new kid in school kind of thing. I had no idea what was going on, and obviously you hear all these stories about all the mentees. They're doing big things and taking on deals and things like that. So I was just like, I knew from the conversations that were being had, that this is somewhere that I know I can develop and grow this business. And I don't know, for something in me was just like, okay, I'm seeing these guys getting deals, like that's gonna be me, and like however long it takes, but that's gonna be me.
Yeah. So we're in your 8-bed HMO. Talk us through the figures of this one. So what's the rent on this place?
So the rent on this one is 5,100.
That's so high, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean the initial investment was pretty.
Yeah, well you're in London. Naturally, the rent is never cheap in London. So 5,100. What's the expected utilities?
I'm thinking about 500 for gas and electric, and then maybe about 80 to 90 for water.
And then council tax. So let's say £700-800.
Yeah.
So once fully tenanted, what's your profit margins looking like?
So there's a couple double occupancy rooms in the property. So if I can get double occupancy, I can probably get a bit of a higher rate. So I would say being very, very considerate and conservative, which I don't think I'm anywhere near, probably around 850. But the top end is probably more likely about 1,200 a month. I
mean, as long as it's over £100 profit per person, that's conservative enough. So that's quite far over. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm referencing 5 people.
Yeah, and you've got a viewing in 15 minutes.
Yeah. So referencing 5 people, and all of the guys I'm referencing, they're all over the average by a good £50.
So what's your thoughts on the Section 21 change coming in? Have you had a look at that?
I did have a little chat with you about this, because I was a bit.
I've had quite a few chats with the mentee messaging me that actually.
Yeah, because I'm handing back one of my properties, so then I served the Section 21 to one of my tenants. But obviously, I had this property in mind, and obviously being 8-bed, I was just thinking if it comes to a situation in the future where I might have to evict someone, it's a bit of a grey area, or it's a bit concerning that you can't really serve someone in Section 21. But obviously you've mentioned the other sections that you can serve, Section 8s and things like that. And then another big thing, I guess, is the referencing.
It all comes down to the heavy, good referencing. If you skip that, then Section 21 might penalise you. But then again, on the flip side, it's a paying tenant. So worst case scenario, the landlord takes on a paying tenant.
Yeah.
It depends on the situation of the landlord. At the point of giving back that property, are they selling it, or are they going to rent it out to other tenants? If so, they've already got a paying tenant that's refusing to leave, which isn't really going to happen in HMOs. It will happen in homes. I think the change of, this is probably what I said to you, the change of Section 21 is an amazing thing, for the majority of people that can't afford to buy it, and they're renting a house they really like. So my mum bought a greenhouse, right, and I had to help strip it down, and the house was amazing. And this guy had lived there for 7 years, and he was served 2 months notice, and he had to get rid of everything quickly to move out. 2 months, been there 7 years. Incredible views, beautiful house, and he had 2 months notice. So the majority of people that are renting a house that want to make it their permanent residence, let's say if we were doing that, wanted to install a pond, that's not a quick task.
Yeah.
That requires an investment. You want to make the garden nicer, you want to put up a summer house. All the while, in the back of your mind, the landlord can invoke a 2 months notice. But now, these guys can make that house their forever home.
Yeah.
As long as they're paying rent, they can live there forever, and I think that's actually a really good thing.
Yeah.
And landlords, buying it in your personal name, you are screwed going forward. You really are. I think buy-to-let is definitely dead if you're buying it in your personal name. Yeah, okay, so first few weeks in the mentorship, then, so how did the actual phone calls, how did you take to the phone calls with the agents?
So the phone calls, I was so stuck on your flow chart that you sent. I was literally calling up agents, had the flow chart in front of me, and just like, first few ones maybe a little bit stuttering.
You don't even know what you're saying, do you? No idea what I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe a bit of stuttering here and there. Oh, do you do this? Is this something that you would consider?
It's almost like you want to hear their response to see if it's true.
Yeah.
Does this work?
Yeah. And I'll be honest, at first I was getting a lot of rejection.
Yeah, standard.
I actually used Open Rent. I actually got through to a landlord who was open to the idea.
Yeah.
But I don't think myself, I believed in
the business model
fully. So I was just like, oh, what do I do? She actually said she wants me to come and view the property, and she's interested in the business model. And then I was just thinking, yeah, maybe it's just too good to be true. Like, it's something, there's definitely something wrong with the house is not like...
No one's going to accept my offer. Yeah. So it sounds like you were just really wanting it to work, but not believing it would happen for you, but doing the work anyway.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess so. I don't know, it's a bit of a sticky situation because you see a lot of people do it, and then you're like, there must be something extra that they're not showing you that they're doing. That's why they've secured certain deals.
Yeah.
Like, you're not just seeing everything face value and that, oh yeah, they've just made one phone call.
Yeah, there's a lot of videos, you know, if you guys are following my channel, there's a lot of rent-to-rent mentors doing similar videos, but all they do is talk about profit margins, how you secured the deal quickly. They don't talk about the downsides of rent to rent, and this is why this is part of like the story.
Yeah.
This is why the mentees and get deals, because as they on board, they're told of how it's going to be.
Yeah.
You're going to be tested. You want to become financially free, you're going to be tested. It's not going to be easy.
It's not easy.
So you went through that test. So I went through that test.
Yeah.
It's not easy, is it? It certainly challenges you and gives you some down days and thinks, here's your opportunity to quit. You can stay in your job for the rest of your life, or there's a better life over here, but you got to go through this hardship.
Yeah.
So how long do you think that hardship lasted for?
Do you know what? For me, I feel like the fact that I had a business partner helped me a lot, because obviously there was days that we would both be making a lot of phone calls. Or I would do the phone calls, and then the next day he would do more of the phone calls. But so then if we did have these down days, or we were questioning each other or questioning the business model, we would be then like, listen, we know this works. We can make this work. Like, okay, we've got a lot of rejection now, but it's just like it's just a numbers game. You just got to be there, like making the phone calls, be there right time kind of thing, right place, right time, and then you'll get that deal basically. Yeah,
it's really important to either have a business partner, or if you're doing this on your own, create your own little network. And that's what I did, because I knew property isn't going to be easy. You have to bounce off of similar minded people, not work colleagues. They're never going to get it. Your mates, they know the old you. So having a solid business partner, even the director of the company, you're going to have down days where he's buzzing. And his energy will rub off. So that's really good. Okay, so how long did it take you? How many did you track your data?
I didn't track it as
Yeah,
photos.
no one ever does. I swear I was the only one who ever tracked my data.
Well, I think I did say to you, I'm not tracking it, and you kept pushing me. But I think I made a lot of phone calls, to be fair, and I sent out a hell of a lot of open rent messages. I think at one point I was pretty much shadow banned for like 2 months or something, and I was still sending out loads of messages, because I must have sent out maybe close to 200 messages with no reply. But
brilliant, definitely shadow.
Yeah, so but I joined your course, I want to say in May or June. Yeah, and we got our deal in October. Yeah, so a couple of months. Yeah, it did take us, and I feel like I think we had a conversation where you were just like the last 2-3 weeks. Smash out as many phone calls as you can, and I think we secured one deal that we were quite happy with. And it was in a good location. We put out an ad. We were getting a ton of messages. So I was just there, put the offer in. I was just praying that one goes through, because I was pretty much at that point I was ready to kind of fill the property.
There's always that rent wall. There's always that rent wall, and one of the mentees hit it this week. And I set him a challenge the next day. I said, just make as many phone calls as you can today until you get your next viewing, and then message me when you get that next viewing. And it was about 3 hours later saying, just secured a viewing next Thursday. And I was like, if you get that deal from that, that one phone call can change your whole life.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I hit a rent-to-rent wall. I mean, maybe a little bit, but I wouldn't say I ever slowed down on what I was doing. I feel like for me, one thing that I'm quite good at is being consistent.
Do you know what? I was just thinking that. That's what I was just about to go on and say, is there's quite a few mentees, the legacy mentee, and I would class you as a legacy mentee, you've got consistency as your middle name. Okay, so you secured your first deal in October. Yeah. How quickly did you get that tenanted?
Literally, I think within 3 or 4 weeks it was pretty much.
Did you pull out all of your initial investment using the savvy way of...
So I think I had a conversation with you at this point as well about taking deposits. Yeah. So for me, I knew that the HMO kind of market was kind of over at that point, because it was end of October. Yeah. So I just thought, for the safe side, I took a deposit and I protected the deposits per the TDS. And I feel like I was quite lucky I did it, because some of the tenants have now damaged the rooms. Okay. Yeah. So if I didn't kind of take that, then I might have been a bit more. But
it depends if you want your investment back out quickly. If you didn't, then doing a deposit is definitely the right way to go.
And I feel like with my job, I had enough saved up that if I wanted to take another deal on, I was able to do that anyway. Yeah. So I just thought better to be safe and protect myself in terms of the deposit that I've given the agency as well, and just ensure that nothing goes wrong with those rooms.
What does life look like for you going forward?
For me going forward, I think that it's just trying to expand my business as much as possible now. I want to get to the point where I don't have to work 9 to 5, where I can focus solely on property, whether that's... I do have other aspirations other than rent to rent. Like I want to go into like developments and things like that as well. But I want to be able to at least build a solid foundation for rent to rent. I think that the business model is massively cash flow heavy.
It's very passive when set up right.
Yeah, very passive. Like the property that I have now, I haven't been there pretty much for like 5-6 months.
The last HMO that ended on its tenancy, a few weeks ago, I hadn't been there for a year. Yeah.
So like you have a few messages here and there that you have to deal with, but then again, if you've got like handymen and all of these other things, you just call them, get
fully
the tenants,
systemized, all the automations in place, and HMO is extremely passive, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's the plan for this one: get it systemized, automated.
Yeah.
Systemized, automated.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty much there though now, really. Yeah. Like it's pretty much I'm getting a lockbox installed as well. I've got a lockbox, but I've given the tenants keys as well. Got a cleaner that's booked in as on our calendars. So once the rooms are filled, I think it's pretty much going to be pretty much done. Yeah. On to the next one.
So what advice would you give to the old you?
Be relentless on the phone calls. I feel like at the beginning I was a bit shy to make the phone calls. I was thinking, what if something goes wrong or I don't know what to say? but then it's all a massive learning curve. Like you need to go through that. I wouldn't say failure, but that kind of hurdle to then learn and develop and be confident enough to then speak to agents and be like, okay, like I'm the one that's the expert here. Like what you're telling me is wrong. What I know is I know what I need to do and what this business model entails, kind of thing. So it's just being relentless and not being shy or passive in making those phone calls or reaching out to agents or landlords.
Yeah, it's all about gaining experience, going through the viewings, the first offer, the first rejection, repeat until you're experienced, and being sold on your business model really helps as well.
I think a big thing as well is the rejection as well, because at the beginning, being in the jobs that I'm in and things like that, you don't get that many rejections. Like the only rejections you'd normally get are from you wouldn't face that many rejections. But then obviously you're doing rent to rent and you make like 10, 15 phone calls a day, and you get 10, 15 rejections, and you're just you gotta take it on the chin a little bit and not take it too personally. And
100%. I mean, look at all of the big timers in the world. So Walt Disney was rejected, I think, over 300 times from investors about building Disneyland.
Yeah.
Thomas Edison, I think it was over 5,000 light bulbs before the first one worked. I think, or was that Dyson? Might have been Dyson. 15th year, I think the first Dyson Hoover worked. 15 years. And Jeff Bezos worked in his grandmother's garage. Elon Musk worked 23-hour days. Like nothing's gonna, I always think it's just a massive test. You want to become financially free, cool. That's an amazing life. This isn't going to be easy. If you pass a test, I'll give it to you. So, what would you give advice to anybody watching this as well?
Anyone watching this, I'd say follow the mentorship that you've created. I think that there's a reason why you're so successful. Like you get mentees, like securing deals. Very often it works. The method works. Like it's tried and tested. I would say that's follow that. Obviously, again, be consistent and relentless, because it's a numbers game. It's not gonna just your first. I mean, some people obviously first 5-10 phone calls they secure a deal. Are very lucky, but it's not the norm. Like
I'm glad that didn't happen to me. Otherwise, I'd have that expectation on all of the students as well. So I'm glad my journey was tough. And I think it makes you a better business person in terms of the amount of rejection. Because I look at the mentees that get results in like 2 weeks, and then they get seriously down that they haven't secured another deal so quickly. It's like, no, that's not how it works. You just got exceptionally lucky. But
just be consistent, really.
And if you're on this channel, I've mentioned it before, you're wired differently. You're looking into rent to rent. That's your heart trying to tell you to go down a certain route, so just go with it. But appreciate the tour.
No worries.
Honestly, an amazing property. No work whatsoever. Every single one of my HMOs, bar one, has required massive amount of work. It's really annoying when I come to a student's property and you're like, I haven't really done much. Put a microwave in the kitchen.
Literally just a kettle for you, Kenny, to make a coffee.
He literally has bought a specific coffee and a kettle to make me a coffee for this tour. So if you join the mentorship, and I will be coming to your rent to rent, make sure there's a coffee, because I'll just turn back around and go home. All right, bro. Well, thanks again.
Worries.